Hello students, today we learn connecting links, embryological evidences, Darwin's theory of natural selection, Lamarckism and speciation. Students, connecting links. Connecting links are organisms which are structurally intermediate between the two different groups. These connecting links provide paleontological evidences while studying the evolution of different groups. So connecting links are formed in the form of some living forms. So connecting links are examples of from plants and also from animals. It means they may be plants or animals. These organisms which are connecting links, they show characteristics of two groups. They are considered as connecting links. Connecting links. For example, peripatus. This peripatus, it is the connecting link between two groups, Annelida and Arthropoda. Last year we learned classification of plants. In that, plants are classified into three groups, that is Thallophyta, Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. So what are bryophytes? Bryophytes are the shade loving plants. So this club moss is shade loving, while pteridophytes, they have vascular bundles, means they have xylem and phloem. So this club moss is shade loving, at the same time it is having vascular bundles, that is club moss is having xylem and phloem. Hence it is a connecting link between bryophytes and pteridophytes. Always keep in mind, bryophytes and pteridophytes are the groups that we learn in while classifying plants. See, this is the image of club moss. This year you are going to study classification of animals, but for better understanding of connecting link of peripatus, I have to explain some points of classification. Animals are classified into two groups, that is non-chordates and chordates. At that time we will explain which animals are called as non-chordates and which are chordates. These non-chordates animals, again they are grouped into 10 phylums, while chordates animals, they are classified into, or they are grouped into 6 phylums. The animals that belongs to group Annelida, their body is segmented. They are, see example earthworm, its body, the outermost covering is segmented. And other examples of from this Annelida, they are having podia, means legs. They are having many legs. So these are the characteristics: segmented body and parapodia. Arthropoda are the group of animals in which respiration takes place through trachea, and their blood circulation, means their circulatory system is open. So blood circulation is which type? Open circulation. This peripatus is a small animal having segmented nephridia or body and parapodia like annelids. At the same time, its respiration is through trachea, and its circulatory system is open. It means its blood circulation is open circulation. Peripatus is considered as a connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. In this image, we will clearly see the body segments, legs and antenna. See, this is a pic from our textbook. We can see many legs of peripatus, that is parapodia. Now this platypus is a duck-billed animal. Okay. So it lay eggs like reptiles. At the same time, this platypus is having mammary glands and hairs. Mammary glands They are present in the body of females of mammals. So these females, they feed their young one, okay, because of mammary glands. Reptilia and mammals both are examples of chordates. Chordates means they are having vertebral column, phylum Chordata. So these reptilia, these are the animals like tortoise, then lizard. These are the example, and some snakes are the example of reptilia. While mammals include all that animals whose females feed their young ones. Example, what human being, cow also. Such animals are included in mammals. And one thing I have to explain, mammals are again two types, oviparous. Oviparous, their females do not have mammary glands. Only the animals who are viviparous means whose females directly give birth to the young ones, that females have mammary glands. See, duck-billed platypus. It is so small, say. One can handle it with one hand. And see the image from our textbook. Last connecting link, that is lungfish. There are many examples, but we are considering only 3. Though it is a fish, but it breathes through lungs. Hence, it is a connecting link between fishes and amphibians. Are you aware about amphibians? Yes, I think you are aware. For example, frog. Frog is an amphibian. See, it is a lungfish. Now, embryological evidences. Embryology means what? The study of embryos or the developing stages of an animal is called as embryology. So, when embryos of different but related groups of animals are studied together, it can be seen that they have many structural similarities. See, these are the images of different embryos: fish, salamander, tortoise, chicken, pig, cow, rabbit, and last one, man. So, there are 3 stages of development of embryo, 8 embryos, okay. The first stage of development, here we see great similarities in between all these 8 embryos. In second stage, we see decreasing order of similarity. And in third stage, we see differentiation, development of differentiation among them. Similarities in initial stages indicate the common origin of all these animals. Darwin's theory of natural selection. So, Darwin's theory of evolution is better known as theory of natural selection. Charles Darwin had collected innumerable specimens of plants and animals, and depending upon the observations of those specimens, he published theory of natural selection. This theory, it preaches natural selection. This theory preaches the survival of the fittest. This is very important. What it preaches? Survival of the fittest. Means those organisms who are dominant, they survive. So it preaches survival of the fittest. And for this purpose, he published a book. That book is known as Origin of Species. So what Darwin opinion? He opinion that only fittest can survive, and those who are not fit, they will die. So those who are not fit, that animal or that organism, they will die. Now, while explaining this concept of survival of the fittest, what Darwin explained, the fittest species, they reproduce in greater number. Okay, and due to reproductions, when they reproduce in greater number, there is a competitions in next generation in life threatening manner, and in this competition only those organisms sustain which show, as they compete with each other in life threatening manner, only those organisms sustain which show modification. Is modification essential for winning? Essential for winning within the competition. Besides this, natural selection also plays important role, because we know one thing, nature also selects only those organisms which are fit to live, and the rest which do not fit, they get perish. Now the sustaining and selected organisms, they can perform reproduction, and then they give rise to the new species and with their own specific characters. Why? These fittest, so the selected organisms, they undergo a reproduction, and then they give rise to the new species of their own specific character. Darwin's theory of natural selection, it was widely accepted for a long duration, but some objections were raised against these theories. Which are the main objections? First one, this natural selection is not the only factor responsible for evolution. Then second objection is, Darwin did not mention any explanation about useful and useless modification. Again, third one, there is no explanation about slow changes and abrupt changes. So, irrespective of all these objections, Darwin's work on evolution has been a milestone. Charles Robert Darwin, 1809 to 1882. He was an English biologist. He proposed the theory of evolution. He showed that all the species of living organisms have been gradually evolved over the period of thousands of years from common ancestors. He proposed that principle of natural selection is responsible for this evolution. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, he proposed that morphological changes, means that we can see through our eyes, occurring in living organisms are responsible for evolution. And the reason behind those morphological changes is activities, either activities or laziness of that organisms. He called this concept as principle of use or disuse of organs. It means, according to him, the morphological changes, means that changes we can see in living organisms are responsible for evolution, and behind these changes, morphological changes, the activities or laziness of organism is responsible. He said that the neck of giraffe has become too long due to browsing on leaves of tall plants. By extending their neck for several generations. So according to him, all these are the examples of acquired characters. And these characters, once they get acquired, these characters get transferred from one generation to another, and this theory is called as theory of inheritance of acquired characters of Lamarckism. According to Lamarck, the shoulders of ironsmith, they have become very strong due to frequent hammering movements. Well, then the second example is ostrich and emu. So the wings of birds of ostrich and emu were become weak. Why? Due to no use. The legs of swan and duck, they become useful for swimming. Why? Due to living in water. While snakes lost their legs by modification in their body because of their burrowing habits. Development of organs due to specific activities or degeneration due to no use, all was widely accepted. But transfer of those characters from generation to generation, that is from one generation to other generation, was rejected. Why? Because it had been verified many times that modifications brought in us are not transferred to one generation to another, and therefore Lamarck's theory was disapproved. The living organisms can transfer the characters which it has acquired to the next generation, and this is called ancestry of acquired characters. Now, speciation. Formation of new species of plants and animals is the effect of evolution. Now, what is meant by species or what are species? Species are a group of organisms that can produce fertile individuals through natural reproduction. Species can be both plants, animals. See, in plants, wheat, jawar, lotus, sunflower are the examples of species. While in animals, humans are the species, tiger, dog, all are. Now humans beings, these human beings they look so different from each other. Okay, in terms of size, color, okay, and looks also. So, but all these humans, they belongs to the same species. Which is that species? Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens. And these humans, they can interbreed to produce fertile offsprings. Understood? Now I think you got the idea about species. Now each species, it grows in specific geographical conditions. Their food, habitat, reproductive ability and period is different. Habitat means where they live. Okay. However, so the genetic variation is responsible for the formation of new species from earlier one. So, besides geographical and reproductive changes, they also responsible for the formation of new species. And this geographical and reproductive isolation, it also leads to the speciation. So the process by which new species develop from the existing species is known as speciation. Here we are finishing today's part. We'll meet in next session. Till then, bye.